What is up, the Lions fans? We are back. You already know what it is. It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again for LNU. Shout out to everybody there. And of course, this is Motor City Cats. And one thing's for certain and three things are for sure when you see me in front of your TV. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that setting. Number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Alliance news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep the Alliance news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. Glad you asked. I'll tell you. Since you twisted my arm, you must smash the like button. You must subscribe. You must share this with your peoples. And once you share this with your mothers, your fathers, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, uncles, you name it. You name it. You've indeed cared about these people. Hey, we got some things that we got to get into today because the Detroit Lions are coming up on a game on a Thursday night football with the Dallas Cowboys, a game which we all pegged as a win. At the beginning of this season, well, before the beginning of the season, when the schedule came out, this was a game that was a win. It was guaranteed. There was no reason to think any otherwise. Now, at this point in the season, 7-5. You got Osama Ben Johnson. Sorry, I slipped. Ripping off his shirt in celebration of the 9th win of the season when they took sole control of number one in the NFC North. And then the goddamn Rams crapped the bed and allowed the Chicago Bears to be the number one seed in the NFC, the entire NFC, the conference. So that got me to thinking, man, because we clown the Bears for being the offseason champs, and they've been the offseason champs 3-4 years running, so it wasn't nothing new. They were over there trying to get better. We clown the Packers for, the stupid Micah Parsons pick because they gave up too much for Micah Parsons. We clown the whatchamacallits. Who are they? The Vikings for JJ McCarthy, which, I mean, that is a clown show. But what the Vikings did all around JJ McCarthy is they bolstered the offensive line, they bolstered the defensive line, and they just aren't good because JJ McCarthy's not good. I'll tell you what. If the Vikings had done what they did and kept Sam Darnold, the Detroit Lions right now would be 4th in the NFC North. All right, let me see your comments before I get into my spiel. What up, to everybody in the chat? K Press says, we suck, period, point blank. What up, to Tactical Sport? What up, to Jody? Man, TA out for the season. Don't know what's up with Kirby. What is going on this season? Okay, I'll tell you. Yeah, I forgot. I'll touch on those things. Hope Kirby don't come back too early and risk further injury to his knee. The Lions and Dan Campbell are full of ish. I'm sick of them. SMH. TA is out for the season, man. We have huge issues now. The bad news just keeps coming. It does. Shoulder surgery. Bears fans have the right to laugh at us. Okay, that's just how it works. The Packers fans have the right to laugh at us. The Bears fans have a right to laugh at us. The only ones that don't have a right to laugh at us is the Minnesota Vikings. Terrion Arnold has been put on IR with a shoulder injury. Now, here's the thing. When we were watching that game, okay, I made the comment, where is Terrion? Some dumbass in the chat said he's busy making TikTok videos. Well, after that hit that he put on whoever he put that hit on, he was out. because he did it with his shoulder. And that's why he's having shoulder surgery. So he was out for the game. They didn't talk about that much. All they talked about was Amon-Ra St. Brown. But Terrion Arnold left the game after that hit, and we didn't see him. And that's because whatever happened to his shoulder happened. Right? He's busy making TikToks, is what was said. I'm not gonna go into OnlyFans today. I've done that enough. But some of these people out here have real problems. They got real issues and they need to seek therapy. Seriously. Seriously, bro. But let's get into what I was thinking. Man, that's not good. Aiden and Jared injured too now. Seems like everyone is out injured. I don't think Aiden and Jared are injured. Comes down to Jennifer. No, it doesn't. I don't listen. Forget about the Bears and January. We gotta freaking get past the Cowboys, which is not gonna be a small task. We can't overlook anybody. We're no longer in that position. We lost that ability. The curse is struck again. I don't know about all that. All right. So remember, we're good. Do y'all remember we're good? Do y'all remember what we talked about? We're good. Okay. I just want to, let me see here. Okay. Kirby Joseph says, I'm lost for words. All right. Let me throw something up here for you. Because it's something that I was thinking about while watching Sunday Night Football last night. And if my computer decides to cooperate, then we can have this discussion. If it doesn't decide to cooperate, then we're not going to be able to have this discussion. I mean, we can still have it, but not in the way that I want to have it. All right. Here we go. Okay, it's upload. So everybody remembers we good. I just want to show y'all something. Y'all ready? Okay, let me put this up on the screen. 2025 through week 12. The Broncos sack leaders. Now the Broncos says only team with 3 players with 6+ sacks. Nick Bonito, 9.5. Jonathan Cooper, 7.5. Zach Allen, 6. The Denver Broncos have 49 sacks. The Denver Broncos are 10-2. In a game in which the Washington Commanders took them to the very end of the wire, to overtime, to a place in which they could have tied the game, and then they would have been 3-8-1 would the Commanders be instead of 3-9. And the Denver Broncos wouldn't be tied with the New England Patriots for the best record in the league with 10 wins and 2 losses. There wouldn't be. Okay? Because they would be 9-2-1. Right? Or had they won the game, they'd be 9-3, and the Commanders would be 4-8. But on any given Sunday, when the defense needed to step up, the defense stepped up. And even when the 49 sack having Denver Broncos came to town, The Washington Commanders, who have won 3 games, had a pass rush plan. I know a pass rush plan is generally talking about the pass rusher and how he gets to the quarterback. What's his plan? What does he do? But Marcus Mariota had a pass rush plan. Dan Quinn had a pass rush plan. That pass rush plan was to not give this team that leads the league in sacks the time that it takes to get to the quarterback. They said, Marcus Mariota, we need you to get that ball out in 2 seconds. When you hit your back foot, 1, 2, bam. We're not doing 7-step drops. We're not doing 5-step drops. 3 maximum. Okay? We're getting the ball out. And then when that defense gets tired, we soften them up, then we can go with the longer throws. It worked. It worked. It worked almost to the tune of a victory. But guess what? That guy, Nick Bonitto, ran and jumped in Marcus Mariota's face, and Marcus Mariota couldn't get the ball over his fingertips because that's all he had to do. And it would have been a walk-in, 2-point conversion, would have been a walk-off dub for the Washington Commanders. But see, the pressure, and we're not talking about just you got around him and you got close enough to smell his cologne. No. We're talking about actual pressure that makes the quarterback actually do something. Throw a bad pass. Do something. Move off your spot. That pressure, even if they didn't get the sack, was what won them the game. Now, while I have these people up here, let's play a game. All right? Let me pull them down so y'all can see me. Okay? And I'm going to get to your comments in a minute. So we said, once again, Nick Bonitto, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen. Okay. Guys, do you know which round Nick Bonitto was drafted in? I know which round he was drafted in. Which pick was he? Nick Bonitto was selected in the 2nd round as the 64th overall pick. Can anybody tell me if 64 is high in the 2nd round? Does anybody know where 64 is? I just want y'all to tell me in the chat. Okay? Let me pull the chat back up. Does anybody know where 64 is in the 2nd round? Let's do the math. There's 32 picks per round. So what does that mean about Nick Bonitto? In theory, just in case there were no comp picks, there were no. In theory, where was Nick Bonitto picked? Ding, 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 ding. Last. So this dude was picked 1 pick before the 3rd round. The 3rd round in which Brad Holmes likes to pick people like Broderick Martin, Isaac TeSlaa, Hendon Hooker. And he likes to use those picks to trade up and get an Isaac TeSlaa, or to trade up in the 4th round and get a Manu. Okay. Here's the next one. What was his name? Okay. He's got 9.5 sacks. He leads that team. But we good because the Detroit Lions fans are mad because Aiden Hutchinson is so good. And why don't we just go get another one? Brad, this is what you said, right? Okay, Brad. So we were expecting to find you just got to go get another Aiden Hutchinson. There's no other way in time in the draft where you could address the pass rush. When you picked Josh Pascal, you weren't addressing the pass rush. When you picked Levi Onwuzurike, you weren't addressing the pass rush. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't have picked Aleem McNeil because you got to build up that line. But you know who you shouldn't have picked? Tyleik Williams. Because the job that Tyleik Williams was brought in here to do was taken by Roy Lopez. So you already did that in free agency. Okay? So we didn't need Tyleik Williams. You could have used an edge rusher in round one or another offensive lineman. I wouldn't have been upset if you went offensive line. It's not sexy. But guess what? The cavalry's not coming. Frank Ragnow's not coming back. So anybody that was out here once the Frank Ragnow news broke that he was coming back, anybody that was out here like, oh yeah, that's why Brad didn't do such and such. Yeah, Brad bot. How you feel now? Silly? You should. Okay, let's continue. Let's see who was next. Jonathan Cooper. Cool. Jonathan Cooper. Where are we at? The linebacker Jonathan Cooper. Are y'all ready for this? Please, if y'all ain't sitting down, you must be sitting down. Okay? I just want to make sure that you're sitting down. Jonathan Cooper. Wait, let's see. Wait. How many sacks does he have? Let me go back. I just want y'all go sit. Hey, if you're not sitting down, make sure you are. Make sure you're sitting down. Let me go back. Jonathan Cooper has 7.5 sacks. You know what that does? That matches the round he was picked in. Okay? Jonathan Cooper was a 7th round pick, 239th overall. Jonathan Cooper has 7.5 sacks. And has been. He was drafted by the Denver Broncos in 2021. 7th round pick, you don't say. Okay, we got Ahmed Hassanin. I guess we good. The difference is Jonathan Cooper played at Ohio State. Okay. Jonathan Cooper played at Ohio State. All right. So I'm just talking about the schools. The schools. Much bigger. Ohio State and Boise State. Okay. Hey, somebody said Alabama was knocking on the door for Ahmed Hassanin. Great. Okay. 7th round pick. But the fact that you said 6th round, I don't know. 6th round, I don't know. Is that good enough? Guys, no, it's not good enough, Brad, because you haven't addressed it before. How long have you been at the helm? Since 2020? This is year number 5. You've drafted Aiden Hutchinson. That's it. You drafted the problem, Houston, and now we're going to have to face Houston, the problem. He had 8 sacks in 7 games, and we let him go because he couldn't play the run. So you have no pass rush. Let me get this straight. And this was the thing that all the people like, oh, one trick pony. There's a lot of people in the NFL who have had Hall of Fame careers being just the one trick pony, doing the one thing. Do you think Deion Sanders was tackling? Was he a big hitter? Deion Sanders didn't like to tackle. But his trick was covering you and taking the ball away. Was he going to run down in the box for run support? Not bloody likely. But he is regarded as the greatest cornerback in NFL history. Barry Sanders was not known as much of a receiving back because they didn't use him like that. But he's the greatest running back in NFL history. The list goes on. Randy Moss wasn't the greatest blocker out there on the edge. He wasn't the most willing. damn sure is in the Hall of Fame and is in most people's top 5 in wide receivers in the NFL history. And the list goes on. When you tell me, and I don't care what conference you played in college, you had 19 sacks in one season, as long as you were playing in America, oh, come on now. Now James Houston is over there contributing to the Dallas Cowboys, and he will be going up against Taylor Decker, and we'll see what happens with that one. Okay. All right. Here goes the last one. Zach Allen. Zach Allen was selected by the Arizona Cardinals with the 65th overall pick in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft. He was the first pick of the 3rd round. So we have 2 guys on the defensive line or in the front 7 of the Denver Broncos who have been picked basically back to back. Okay. Now, Zach Allen was picked before. Okay. He was in 2019. Nick Bonito, I think, was in 2000. What was he? 2023. Which hold on, let me see. Because I know Jonathan Allen was 2021. 2022 was Nick Bonito. Okay. So he was picked 3 years after Zach Allen, but Zach Allen was picked by the Arizona Cardinals. First pick of the 3rd round, last pick of the 2nd round, and a 7th round pick. These guys are the leaders of a defense that has 49 sacks. So when Brad Holmes comes and gaslights you at the podium, telling you that you're just mad because Aiden Hutchinson is so good and why can't we just go get another one? I present to you the Denver Broncos. They're leading the league in sacks and pressures. And most likely quarterback hits as well. They're leading the league and making the quarterback uncomfortable and feel pain and feel hurried and feel rushed and be discombobulated and getting him off his spot. They lead the league in that. And consequently, they have a 2nd-year quarterback who a lot of people thought was going to be a bust because he was in college for 6 years. Oh, he's too old. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get to your comments and then we're going to get back to this. Let me take this off. All right. I just wanted that up there for effect. All right, let's see what we got going on here. We knew the Lions' schedule was hardest in the NFL. We knew we had OL issues. We knew we'd be hovering around an 11-win season, and we're still here. Dallas is fugazi good, but inconsistent. If they're inconsistent, what are we? Are we consistent? What are we consistent? What have we been consistent in this season? Jahmyr Gibbs. Dallas W, LA L, Pitt W, Men W comes down to Chicago. I don't know why you think that you can take any W's for granted. I don't know why. As you see this season, as you see this team, the injuries, okay, Graham Glasgow again is not playing against the Cowboys. Let's see how Tristan Colon does. I don't know. I don't know. Our defense revolves around LBs. Our DC was an LB, and they're playing great. The teeny weeny Wolverine 97 is AWOL. Okay, so now we've got personal issues. So I'm done with your comments. All right. The T. Williams pick was dumb. We literally have 4 other players that can do what he was drafted to do. Facts. J-Mo has had 38 for 706 yards and 6 touchdowns. These men are fast and cover the deep areas. Using them as backers is wrong, in my humble opinion. Wait, Hutch and Goff are hurt? I hadn't heard that. I did not hear that Hutch and Goff were hurt. Frank Ragnow is not coming back. He failed his physical. And Kirby Joseph has a cartilage situation. Cartilage, guys. For those of you that are not familiar, it doesn't regenerate. Think of what was that dude's name? Was it Brandon Roy? Point guard in the NBA, bunch of knee surgeries, no cartilage, had to retire early. I know a guy with two thumbs that said we were being gaslit. I'll give you two guesses, but you're only going to need one. Me. Me. I know I said it. I know you said it. Okay. Someone above said Aiden and Jared now too was confused. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about Aiden and Jared. It might have just been some practice stuff, like they didn't practice. But as far as injured, TA is on injured reserve. So that sucks. All right. So that was why the title of this show was, is it just a quick fix? Is it just a quick fix? It's a quick fix. You can fix the pass rush in one off season. You can fix the offensive line woes in one off season. If you sign the best free agent center available, it's fixed for the offensive line. Now, obviously, you got Miles Frazier coming back. You got Christian Mahogany coming back next year. You got Tate Ratledge coming back for his second year. You got these pieces. You eventually need to get Taylor Decker's replacement. So again, as we said, you can go ahead and get your left tackle in the first round. Because as I showed you, Nick Bonito, last pick of second round. Zach Allen, first pick of third round. Jonathan Cooper, 7th round pick. What we really need to do is change philosophies. Okay? And our philosophy needs to change from you have to earn the right to rush the passer. You know why? Because every year since AG simplified the defense, okay, so we can't count that year. That's the year that we went 9-8. Because we went 8-2 down the stretch and just missed the playoffs. That's the year that we sent Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC North. Remember that? Every year since then, we start out great, stopping the run. We ain't allowing this, we ain't allowing that, we ain't allowing the third thing. 50 yards per game rushing. 50 yards per game rushing. That's what we're allowing. By the end of the year, it's over 100. Or just about. So we need to change the philosophy of, you gotta earn the right to rush the passer. I don't care nothing about that. I don't care nothing about that. Yes, be good against the run, be stout and all these other things. But you know what? If you don't stop Jordan Love from drifting back and throwing his dumbass fadeaway passes, you're not going to beat the Packers. If you can't get Caleb Williams on the ground guess what, guys? Guess what? The Bears are on a tear. And guess what I've been telling you about Caleb Williams? Now, Caleb Williams ain't great, but guess what he has been able to do under Osama bin Johnson? Osama bin Johnson has been able to coach around his issues. Try to get the ball out quickly. The game plan is for him to get the ball out quickly so that he doesn't have time to run around. Take your first, your second read and go. So he's developing, he's being developed. As I told you guys when Caleb Williams was drafted, the key to success for Caleb Williams is to have a coach that can coach the hero ball out of him. Guess what Osama bin Johnson is trying to do? Just that. He's teaching Caleb Williams that if you rely on the hero ball, you will never amount to anything in this league. But if you use it as a tool instead of a crutch and a hindrance, which is what it is when you use it all the time, then you'll be just like all the other mobile quarterbacks that can get you a play with your feet when you need it. That can get you a play off script when you need it. Remember when Jordan Love had all these Patrick Mahomes comparisons, and I was like, yeah, don't see it. You know who's more like Patrick Mahomes? Caleb Williams. Am I telling you he's Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely not. Am I telling you he's going to be just like Patrick Mahomes, better? No, absolutely not. But imagine the Chicago Bears for years to come having a quarterback that's Patrick Mahomes-esque. Just esque. That's all he has to be, esque. And then they'll be in contention for a very long time. So as the Chicago Bears sat there this offseason and tried to get better, and they signed and then they brought in offensive linemen and they spent money on the defense. And the Green Bay Packers, they did the same thing. And the Minnesota Vikings, they did the same thing. What did the Detroit Lions do? We cut Zadarius Smith inexplicably. We let Kevin Zeitler walk. We lost Frank Ragnow to retirement. What else am I missing? What else didn't we do? We didn't make any trades at the trade deadline. We got to the third round of the draft and we threw away 3 third-round draft picks to move up and get a receiver. And I'm calling it 3 in this situation because you didn't need to draft him in the third round. Because you could have drafted the next Zach Allen. You could have drafted the next Nick Bonito. The Chicago Bears are number 1 in the NFC North. Chicago Bears are number 1 in the NFC. We didn't know if Osama bin Johnson was going to be a leader of men. He's a leader of men. I talked about being like the Philly fans. Let me play you an excerpt. Excerpt. Okay? This is what a Philly fan is. Okay?
Philly Dilly crying Eagles fan always repping Philly. Listen, yo. This feels like a repeat of a couple years ago when we had that fucking meltdown, 5 out of 6 loss, put out in the first fucking wild card week against the fucking Tampa Bay Bucks. When I say this offense is trash, the calls that the referees, how they ref us, man, Jalen Hurts enthusiasm, attitude, passing, not running Hurts with the RPO, The line not creating no lanes for fucking Saquon Barkley. The lackluster route running of our receivers. You mix it all in the bowl, bro. And then our defense has been balling out all year and not playing well today. You have no choice to say, what the fuck? When are y'all going to wake the fuck up? It's more than Kevin Patullo. Bitch, Sirianni, you're the head coach. Figure it the fuck out and figure it out fast, bro. It's making my stomach hurt, bro. There's no reason why this is week 13 and we still don't have no fucking identity, man, on this fucking Philadelphia Eagles team. Teams are doing what they want to us. The meltdown started when we was up 21 love. Now you come in at home, bro, and you're letting the motherfucking Chicago Bears control the TOP like at home, bro. They figured it out. It's windy as fuck down here, 20 to 30 miles per hour. Why are we throwing the ball? Run the ball. Run the ball. Man, get the fucking camera out my face, yo.
I wouldn't mind some of that energy right now. I wouldn't mind some of that energy. I'll link it to y'all comments. I was being sarcastic about Aiden and Jared because it seems like everyone is hurt. Oh, okay. But pass rush is cooked, season is cooked with TA gone. The issue is I think Melvin is too boneheaded to change his philosophy. He's gonna have to do something quick because he's gonna get fired. You know, like Pierce said, he said if we don't make the playoffs this year and next year, he's gone. I feel like at some point in time, you have to realize again, you've done nothing. And I'll tell y'all, look, I got a best friend, right? My man, 100 grand. Love this dude. Pause. He's from Atlanta. So we have like sports conversations, and he's always trying to say something to me, right? But he can't really win an argument because he knows that Atlanta sports is trash, so much so that he's an extreme bandwagon jumper. He got teams all over the country, right? He can't talk to me about his. He can talk to me about his baseball team. I don't care about baseball, but hey, that's it. That's the only success you've had professionally. You haven't had any success in football, hockey, basketball. Baseball's it. So when he tries to have these arguments with me about sports, and my question is, what have you done? What has your city done sports wise? We know Detroit is the city of champions. We know, like, we have a long history of winning. Not the Lions, even though if you want to go way back, right before any of us were alive, they got the 4 championships, right? But in the modern era, we've seen the Pistons win. We've seen the Tigers win. Of course, we've seen the Red Wings win, right? It's called Hockey Town, USA. If you like, we have so many championships that they call the place Hockey Town, USA. So my question to Brad Holmes is, when you're up there taking victory laps and you're being smug at the freaking podium and you're calling out reporters and this, that, and the third thing, what have you actually done? What have you built? Aiden Hutchinson, now the excuse is, oh, he's hurt. But before the season, he was better than he had ever been. He looked even better than he looked when before he got injured last season. Last season, he was on a tear, and people were all saying, hey, it's against backup tackles. And it was like, well, you got to play who they put in front of you. Now it's not against backup tackles. Oh, he's got 8.5 sacks this season. Oh, but he's hurt. He's coming back from a catastrophic injury. Now you got to give him until next year. He's on the field. I expect production. They didn't wait until next year to pay him. They paid him this year. They paid him this year. So we expect production this year. Nick Bonito has 9.5 sacks, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Bonito was the last pick of the 2022 second round of the 2022 second round. He was the last pick. That's 9.5 sacks. He's on a defense that has 50. I don't know. I think they got to Mariota maybe once. Let's call it 50. Okay. Agreed. Melvin thinks the fan base doesn't know football. Some of us don't. Some of us don't. Some of us have issues with just personal like vendettas against players that they've never met. So we say things like the defense is playing great. It's just Aiden Hutchinson that sucks. Okay. Imagine being an oh hell no state fan and being a Lions fan. That's crazy. It's crazy work. Or maybe he was a Spartan fan. I don't know. The thing most media misses is how easy the Bears' schedule has been. Yeah, I'll wait. Ben is a dweeb, and we'll get bullied again like we bullied him already. I'm not so sure. The easy the schedule has been. Again, that was the case before they played the Eagles and put up 200 yards rushing with two different running backs. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai both had over 100 yards rushing against the Eagles. So as all of us felt that they were going to get exposed, they put belt to ass on the Philadelphia Eagles in their own house. So I can't really freaking talk about that. I can't. I got to get the props where the props are due. Right now, the props are due. Right now, after the Eagles win, they put up 24 points. We couldn't put up more than 9. Okay? So now, when you go into next week, who are they playing? When you go into the next week, who are they playing? When you go into the next week, who are they playing? You can't just figure they're going to lose. You can't look at the San Francisco game and go like, oh, they have no chance against San Francisco. Remember the thing that Dan Campbell said? He said, when everybody else is going into their slump, we're going to be on the rise. That's not true. Not now. But you know what? Osama bin Johnson can say the same damn thing. Because they've been rising since we beat them. I think they're 8-1 since that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just saying. They've won more games over that stretch than we have. They're 9-3. We're 7-5. I'm just giving props where props are due. MCDC gonna rip Ben's shirt off week 18. We'll see. You missed the Tim Patrick trade. The Tim Patrick trade because you got a 6th round pick for. Oh, and also we drafted a 6th rounder, and that addresses the pass rush, but he hasn't played all season. Don't stop watching. Don't lose hope. Detroit Lions might just be cooked. The season's over because I can't see them winning 4 out of 5 games. I'm telling y'all, don't sleep on the Cowboys. I'm just telling you not to do it. You know, you heard it here. I'm telling you. So if they lose to the Cowboys, don't be like, how did we lose to the effing Cowboys? Jared Goff and Dak Prescott, very similar. Similar numbers, right? DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams are not what you would call men. So Ben ain't leading it. Yeah, trading Timmy P before we knew what we had in Tesla was silly. We shouldn't have had Tesla. That's even sillier. I understood. So good. Again, I understood the trade because Timmy P had a terrible training camp. Absolutely brutal training camp. So if you're going to say, well, people make the team on merit, then Timmy P, there's no way he could have made the team. Maybe you need to promote Chris Spielman now, you know? It feels upside down. The Panthers beat the Rams. Next, dogs and cats will be living together. I stand by the statement also. If we miss the playoffs this year and somehow don't make any run next year, it's on Melvin and he has got to go. I would definitely say for sure if it was 2 years in a row, yeah. Those are facts. Adam Thielen was just released. He was granted his request. I don't think Hutch is the problem either. Teams can scheme him and not expect anything else. Well, but we are good. We got Tyrus Wheat and Tyus Lacey. And Marcus Davenport came back, y'all. Hey, rejoice. He of zero stats came back and did nothing. But at least he didn't get hurt. Melvin called us, the fan base, dumb. I took that personally. Until he changes his philosophy, he can go. Oh, I feel you. I feel you. Ron Winarski is correct. I cannot argue with him. Most fans can run things better in their minds. Building a team that can run at the playoffs year in, year out can't be perfect. It can't be perfect, Robert. And I'm glad you said that. Because no one is asking for perfection. But when the fans can look at a team for 5 years and see that you ain't done nothing to address a certain situation, a certain position, we can get upset. Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker were Quinn Trisha picks. Quinn Trisha. Let me read you the offensive linemen, and I'm going to read these from my memory. So if I forget, you just let me know. The offensive linemen that Brad Holmes has drafted: Penei Sewell, because the Bengals are stupid; Colby Sorsdal; Christian Mahogany; Miles Frazier; Tate Ratledge; Manu. The only one that's now contributing, other than Penei Sewell, we're gonna because Penei Sewell was a slam dunk. But well, okay, that's fine because you didn't have to draft him. You could have taken Mike Parsons. Penei Sewell and Tate Ratledge. Tate Ratledge, you just drafted him this year. Out of those names that I listed, only one of those guys was drafted in the first round. Only one. And that's Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell is the only one that I mentioned that was drafted in the first round. Penei Sewell was the only one drafted in the first round. That's it. The resources that have been used for building the trenches under Brad Holmes have been underwhelming. Penei Sewell and Aiden Hutchinson were slam dunk picks, which were gifted to us by other teams being stupid. That's it. So yes, Robert, it can't be perfect, but we're not asking for perfection. We're asking you to allocate things properly. We're asking you to take your third round pick for Broderick Martin, your third round pick for Hendon Hooker, your 3/3 for Isaac Tesla, your third round pick for Manu. That's 6 third-round picks. You don't think you could have got 6 players? One second. That's 6 third-round picks. You don't think you could have gotten 6 players, hell, even 3 players with that did better than Broderick, the project, than Hendon Hooker, who couldn't be developed, than Isaac Tesla, who is not helping your offensive line this year at all, than Manu, who is not helping your offensive line this year at all. That dude got his ass beat and then was on injured reserve for the rest of it. He played in one game, got his ass beat, and was on injured reserve for the rest of the season. That's crazy. I can't wait until MCDC proves everyone wrong and pulls out a Super Bowl this year. I can't wait. Then fire Brad next day. So MCDC is not, nobody's talking about the coach. This is all about Brad. This is all about the GM. No one is saying anything about Dan. No one. I haven't mentioned Dan's name. Chris Spielman doesn't want to be a GM. He has already turned down interviews. Well, maybe he should just be the guy in the dude's ear and tell him, no, stop doing that dumbish. Dan can only coach the players he's given. I don't know if I buy how much he say he has. In the players? Yeah. I'm trying to imagine Brad Holmes' responses at his next press conference. Hey, it better be contrition. It better be apologies. Because if you sit there and you try to tell people that some other stuff is going on again, just like you tried to do when you tried to say that everyone was upset because you wouldn't go get another Aiden Hutchinson. If you try to do that again after this season, in which you might not make the playoffs, and you try to act like people are stupid, it ain't gonna go well. I can tell you that much. Yeah, I said mahogany. You know why he was at DE so much? Because they're good. They're good. That's why he was at DE so much. They're good. We don't need a defensive end. Because we got Marcus Davenport and Tyrus Wheat and Tyus Lacey. At least he's playing. At least he's playing. Easy fix, yes. Will they do it? That's the question. That is the question. Small thing, I believe Manu was a fourth. He was a fourth, but we traded a third to move up in the fourth. That's even worse. That's what I'm saying. He was a fourth, but we traded a third to move up in the fourth, which is crazy. Yes, Manu cost us a third. Manu was a fourth, but he cost us a third. This is my point. He cost us a third. 6 thirds reaching, this team would be in a better place, I believe. Yeah, we would. Brad spent a third to move up to get Manu. Yes, it doesn't make sense. That's some Brad stuff for sure. Yes. Pause. I'm not gonna read that out loud. Who's this? You don't even know that dude's name. His name is Kyle, not Clell. Anyway, you know what time it is. Mailbag. What you want to do? What you want to do when they reading you? Mailbag. Snick. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, go ahead. Get y'all mailbag questions in, man. Again, the failures of this season are on Brad. That's what I'm putting him on. You walked into the mailbag. Dude. Mailbag, would you rather tank this year for a higher pick or make the playoffs and lose early? I never want to tank because if you can make the playoffs, anything can happen. But if you're saying lose early, neither one of those things makes any sense. Because a higher pick doesn't guarantee success. And the missing and losing early in the playoffs doesn't solve any issues. The only proper answer in that would be just getting the higher pick because that is the only thing that could benefit the team. Making the playoffs and losing early is of no benefit at all. So the only way that I could answer that would be to tank to get a higher pick. Hypothetically. Do I want to do that? No. We have seen worse. We've seen worse. Again, as I said, there's a guy he's on a network. I was watching a show that I sometimes watch in the morning. Quite often I watch in the morning. And when I saw that guy and he was talking his drivel, I turned it off. He's not usually on the show. He was filling in for someone, and I turned it off. Because he keeps talking about sustained success. As if it is like a Band-Aid, as if it is supposed to open our eyes as fans to, oh, well, I keep telling you guys, I don't care what they want. Again, tomorrow is not promised. Next season is not promised. I can guarantee you that someone in Detroit will die before next season, right? It's Detroit. Someone in Detroit will die before next season. multiple people in Detroit will die before next season. And if they are football fans, they're most likely Detroit Lions fans. I don't care about 10 years down the line. Oh, we made the playoffs for 10 years. Did we win a Super Bowl? Because when the Red Wings were doing it, it was really about the streak, right? It was because you knew the Red Wings were going to win championships, but it was good to be able to say, hey, we did 25 straight years of the playoffs. But you know what happened after the 25 straight years? I stopped watching because it was too emotionally taxing to watch that team go through a rebuild in which they still haven't made the playoffs in how many years now? When was the last Red Wings championship? 2000? So I don't care about sustained success. So anyone who cares about it, for what? What does it do? Unless you win championships, it doesn't matter at all. Mailbag, since the season is cooked, have you started looking into the offseason? I have not. I will, though. I will. What's fantasy football like? I'm changing leagues. Mailbag, do you feel this year is over? I'll ask again Friday. If we lose to the Cowboys, I feel the season's over. Because all it takes is a couple of guys to give you interior pressure, and you can't compete offensively. No, this season will be over at that point. So this is a must win on Thursday night. Mailbag, what do you think are our chances of winning this Thursday? They don't look very good. Terrion Arnold is out. Kirby Joseph he's practicing. He may play, but you got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb coming in. We don't have any pass rush. They're all pro receivers, right? At least George Pickens is playing on an all pro level. Have we done enough to game plan without Amon-Ra St. Brown? I think you lean on JMO and Jahmyr Gibbs and so on and so forth. But I just feel defensively, it's going to be tough. If you can't get to Dak, he's going to have all day to sit back there and pick you apart. And then it's going to turn into a shootout. And again, if it turns into a shootout, does our offense have enough to protect? Does our offensive line have enough to protect Jared Goff? If yes, then we win. If no, we don't. So I don't know. I have to look into it a little bit more. You'll get my prediction on Wednesday. Mailbag, would you trade Amon-Ra for 2 first rounds and Judkins from the Browns? No. For what? What do we even need Judkins for? Where did that come from? Yeah, 3-win streak. Facts. I feel like this team has to fuel the fire and play with some spark Thursday. We cannot lose this game. That is true. What up, though, Chicken Nugget King? That would be a death sentence for the season. That argument is definitely true in NBA lottery. The inconsistency we have is going to hold us back at times, and we can clean up those inconsistencies ASAP. I wish we could clean up inconsistencies ASAP, but I think if we could, then they wouldn't be called inconsistencies. You were talking about Anson. I'll take a no answer as a confirmation. No answer. Mailbag, do you think Brad's first 2 drives were good because he had knowledge from the Rams that he brought with him? Are you saying that was the only reason? I don't know that that's the only reason, but I know that he doesn't scout just guys by himself, and it is a collaborative approach. But I think he has final say, and I just think again, it's the project picks. The project picks have doomed us, and he just needs to stop doing it. Go ahead and pick who was the dude that I wanted? The dude from Clemson, linebacker. He looked like a mini version of Jihad Campbell. I don't want to say mini like he's small. So he looked like just a less polished version of Jihad Campbell. I can't remember his name. He was selected in the 3rd round. I just, not winning a playoff game 2 times in the last 2 years is a reality now. It could happen. And we haven't lost back-to-back games in 3 years. I really don't like that streak. It's a good streak, but every time we lose a game, someone brings it up. And it's like, eventually we're going to lose back-to-back games. But if that's what keeps them from losing back-to-back games, if Dan Campbell can evoke that streak, and it puts the guys in some sort of something, some sort of mood, okay, fine, I guess. I guess. This offense really feels naked right now, picking guys off the street soon. I say Sheila get Brad ass out of town. It does not even smell. What are these ass comments? Pause. Like, what are we talking about? The reason I said Anson is because I turned it off at the same time. Yeah, there was a chair and a massage, and I was just like, I can't listen to this. I can't. Who is what guy? The guy with the ass comments or Anson? If Brad pitches re-signing Didi, does Sheila fire him on the spot? I hope so. I hope so. I'm sorry. I hope so. If that's what you want to do, because it's not just that. Look, as I said, God can't stay healthy, and he comes back and he plays not to get injured. He's trying not to get injured because he knows he can't stay healthy. So he's trying not to get injured, and that results in zero production. No production at all. So you can't play football scared. You can't play not to get injured because that's the easiest way to get injured. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe he plays not to get injured and gets injured. He's become the face of all of this. He has. I think the most likely one would be Pascal, but again, you're right. Neither of them should be on the roster. Mark my words, one of them will be here. Yeah, like I said, I think it's Pascal. You you can't re-sign Levi, bro. Levi's been here for 5 years. He's played 1 season. I don't understand. You keep going if. If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So I don't know. All right, y'all. I got to roll up out. you know what time it is. It's time for me to get back to these streets. So I appreciate everyone who came through for a drink and conversation. Shout out to you all. We'll be back here tomorrow. We think I don't know, man. We'll talk about whatever there is to talk about. So we got 2 more mailbag questions. Okay. If you could choose the next country you live in, what one would it be? Turkey. Turkey would be the next country easily. Re-signing Davenport, you can fire Melvin for cause? Yes, I think so. I think you can. Davenport and Pascal have been dead spot on the roster. So has Levi. So it's all messed up. All right, y'all. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. I got a full head of hair. I'm good. All right. Peace.